In this video, we're going to be working on a 3D version of the character customization tutorial. I previously made a 2D one, so if you're interested in that one, I will pop a link to that. In this one, we're going to do a similar structure to that, but we're going to use this beautiful 3D model of Chad, which is what you're seeing on the screen right now. I will link to the assets in the description. The only thing that I did to those assets was I slightly renamed them, so I will also have this repository in the description so you can see how I have my assets structured. They're slightly just renamed or reorganized, but all of the assets are still there. Please visit the itch link so you can download it from the creator there. So let's get right on into it. Forgive me, 3D is not my forte when it's coming to Godot, so bear with me if there's some debugging that we have to do along the way. But right now, we're in a new project. We're on forward plus rendering. I have my assets folder, a scenes folder, and a scripts folder. So I'm not going to make this too complex of a file structure. I'll leave that to you if you want to implement this. So let's just start making it roll here. Let's create our main scene. So I'm just going to create a node 3D. Just going to call it main. Let's save this. We will want to put this, it's in our scenes folder. Okay. It's going to have a script as well. We can pop this in our scripts folder. Call it main. Great. So now that we have our scene, we need to first add our character 3D. We're going to have a camera 3D. Not a 2D, you want a 3D. And we're going to make a node 3D, which is going to hold our lighting. And inside of this, we're going to have 3 directional light 3Ds, which the first one is going to be our key light, second one will be our fill light, and the third one will be our rim light. We don't really need to add a collision shape to this, since we're not really going to be using it like that, but we are going to add a node 3D as a child, which we're going to call our character container. And then inside of this, when we create our character, we are going to put the instance inside of here and name it character model. We're also going to click on our camera and go into our node and our groups, and we want to have this global group. I already have this made, but you want to make a global group and make sure that our main camera is assigned to our camera 3D. Now we can go into our main script. Let's get rid of these comments. We're not going to need process at all. And we are going to need 2 onReady variables right now. We're going to need our character body 3D, which let's just rename our character. Drag him here. And then we also need our camera. First thing we're going to do is just work on the positioning of our camera. So we will do character.position is going to equal to vector3.0. So rename this onReady to just be camera, so it's a little bit easier. Then we're going to do our camera position. It's going to be equal to vector3, 0, 1.6, 2.0. And our camera, I'm going to use the lookat method, and we're going to do a vector3 at 0, 0.9, and 0. Oh, I had too many things in here. It should be 0.9, 0, 0.9, and 0. So we can go into, first we're going to do our key light. And we don't really have anything in our 3D right now. We can leave this up so you can see the changes though. And we'll first start with our key light. We're going to come back and tweak this a little bit more later, but let's just go into our light. We're going to change the light color to be slightly less than pure white. We'll do 0.9, 0.9. The light energy is going to be 2. And we want shadow to be enabled. Let's go to our fill light, and we're going to do something similar with our light color. I'm going to do 0.9, 0.95, and 1 is fine. Our light energy is going to be 0.5. Our rim light, do the same thing. I'm actually not going to change the color though. We're just going to change the energy, and that's it for right now. Then we're going to make a world environment. We need to go up to our environment, make a new one, click into it, and our background mode is going to be a custom color. You can make this whatever you want. I am going to use these values for right now. It's not super pretty, but again, you can change it to what you want. And in our tone map, we are going to use Filmic. We're going to go to SSAO and enable it. We're going to go down to our glow and enable it. The glow intensity is going to be 0.2, and the glow bloom, oops, I'm in SSAO. I don't want to change that there. You want this to be enabled. You want the intensity down in glow to be 0.2 and our bloom to be 0.1. So with these environment effects and the lighting, we're just trying to make it kind of more like a studio photo shoot style. So you can tweak these again as you'd like, because it's just going to help us hopefully be able to view our character a little bit better. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, we're going to make another script, and we're going to call this our character data. And this character data is just going to be all the things that we're going to be able to modify. So we're going to give this a class name of character data, and it's going to extend a resource. We're actually not going to have any methods here. We're just going to have export variables in 2 enums. So we'll do the export variables first. So we'll do our skin color, which will be a color. It's going to default to 0.98, 0.84, 0.65, an alpha of 1. We're going to be able to customize all this, so the defaults don't really matter too much. We're going to do our hair color, which again is a color, and we're going to give this a default as well. 0.35, 0.25, 0.15 with a 1 of an alpha. Then we have an export variable called selected hair, which is going to be of a hairstyle. So we should, I guess, set up those enums first. We'll do an enum called body part, which we're going to have base, hair, t-shirt, jeans, and sneakers. We're not going to do the eyes. I was having some issues with the eyes, and I didn't want that to hold up making this, so we're going to skip the eyes right now. We're going to have hairstyle, which is going to be bald equals 0, and short equals 1. Okay, so now we have this hairstyle. We're going to default to bald off the bat. Then we're going to have an export variable for t-shirt color, which again is a color. And we're going to default this to just once across the board. Then export variable for our jeans color, which is a color again. Do color 0.2, 0.3, 0.8 with a 1 alpha. We have another export variable for our sneakers color. So again, we're going to follow the same structure here. We're going to have 0.8 across the board. Except for our alpha needs to be 1. Okay, then we need to set 2 more, and then we can get out of here. We're going to do t-shirt visible, which is a bool. Default is to true. And export variable of sneakers visible, which is going to be false. We're going to have our guy be barefoot on the default. Then we're going to create another script. We're going to call it the customization manager. So let's save that. We need to add this as a global. Sorry, I don't know why I can't grab this on my screen right now, but in our globals, let me delete my existing one, and we want to go to our scripts and set customization manager as a global. All right, let's open that script up and let's start filling this out. It's going to be a little bit of a long one, so let's just start working on it. We're going to have 2 signals, color updated, and we're going to get the part, which is going to be a character data dot body part, and then a color, just a type of color, and signal. We're going to have customization updated. We're going to get a variable of our character data which is going to be type character data. I'm not going to assign it anything. And then we're going to have our ready method where we're going to get our character data and we're going to create a new one. Now we need to handle the color update functionality to all of this. We're going to make a update color method, which takes in a part. So character data body part again, and a color. Color. We're not going to return anything. And then we're going to do a match on the part. So if the character data body part is our base, we're going to go into our character data, skin color, and equal the color. I'm going to copy and paste this. We need to do this for our hair, our t-shirt, our jeans, and our sneakers. So we will go here and we will change this to our hair. This then needs to be hair color. We have our t-shirt. This is going to be our t-shirt color. We have our jeans color. And then finally we have our sneakers, which is our sneakers color. Outside of the match, then we just want to go into our color updated signal. We want to emit it and the part and color. Then we do our customization updated and emit that signal. Then we want to also have our reset character method, which all we're going to be doing in here is get our character data, and we're just going to create a new character data to be fresh, and then we customization updated emit. Okay, so now we need to do a randomized character method, and in this we're going to just randomize all of the things that are customizable. So we're going to do our character data dot skin color, and it's going to be equal a color, and it's going to get a random f range. So random float range means 0.5 and 1.0. Another random float range of 0.4 and 0.9. Another random f range of 0.3, 0.8. And lastly, we set our alpha to 1. To fix the method naming, and now we need to do this for our hair, our t-shirt, our jeans, and our sneakers. So again, we're going to have to update this where we're going to have to do hair color, t-shirt color, jeans color, and lastly our sneakers color. And we're going to change these values a little bit. I'm just going to go in and copy and paste the ones that I'm using just to speed this up a little bit, but you can again update these how you would like to update them. Still inside of this method, we're going to randomize our hairstyle as well. So our selected hair is just going to be, we're choosing between 0 and 1. So we're going to do a random I in the range of from, we're going to do 0, and then the character data dot hairstyle dot values dot size. So theoretically, as we are adding more hairstyles to this, this will still be selecting random hairs. And we're going to do our character data dot t-shirt visible. We always want this to be true. You know, if you want to take his shirt off, go for it. But we're not going to, even on randomize, we're going to have that t-shirt show. And then we're going to do character data dot sneakers visible. We are also just going to default that back to false. Then we need to emit our customization updated signal. Now we want to make a method. Sorry, I'm going to try and keep this up here. I keep saving and my auto formatting thing keeps adjusting it, but we're going to do update part. We're going to get part, which is character data body part. And we're going to get an index. It's going to be equal to an integer. This is not going to return anything. We're going to match part, and it's going to be character data dot body part dot hair. We're going to get our character data dot selected hair is going to equal the index. Then we emit that signal. Back in our main scene, we want to save this branch as a scene. So we're going to go into our scenes and we'll save that in there. We can bring this up. We want to attach a script. It can be called character. Great. We're going to extend the character body 3D. Get rid of all of this. We no longer need it. We're going to need a reference to a character container. And then inside of this, we're going to need a node 3D, which is going to be our character model. And then we need a reference to our character model. And I'm going to copy and paste a couple of things in we're going to set up our material arrays for each customizable part. And then we are going to have our mesh references for visibility control. And then lastly, we're going to have a constant for hair mesh name. It's going to equal to classic short, which is just referring to what is in our assets over here, classic short. Then our character container, we want to add it to a group as well. So we'll go to these groups. We're going to add another one, and we're going to call this one the character container. Make it global. Okay. Then we can create our ready method. And we're going to have 3 methods in here. One is going to be cache materials. One's going to be where we connect our signals. And lastly, we're going to have update from data. So let's just make these bare bones methods right now, just so we don't get any errors. Okay, let's just do this quickly for the other ones. So we'll do connect signals. And then update from data. All right, so let's work on cache materials first. In this, we are going to loop through each child in our character model dot find children. We're going to look for the star, and then we're going to want to look for a mesh instance 3D. And if our variable mesh, it's going to be set as child as mesh instance 3D. And if not mesh or not mesh, mesh.mesh, continue. Otherwise, we're going to call surface count, which is an integer, and it's going to be mesh.get surface count. Surface count, not surface. Okay. And then we want to skip I-related nodes. So we're going to do if I in child.name or cornea in child.name. Continue. And for surface index in range of our surface count, we're going to get a material. It's going to be equal to mesh.get active material at the surface index. And then if material and material is standard material 3D, we're going to get a unique material. It's going to be material.duplicate as standard material 3D. Now we need to do a big match here. We're going to match on child.name. And this is all down to the naming conventions of the files. So we're going to do cc base body. And if so, we're going to get child.set surface override material at the surface index and the unique material. And then we're going to get skin materials dot append our unique material. And I'm going to do some copy and paste here just so we can speed this up as well. We need our hair mesh name, we need our basic t-shirts, our slim jeans, and our sport sneakers. So this one is not going to be in quotes, it's just going to be our hair mesh name. Could probably do that for all of these to speed this up, but that's all right. Basic Jesus, basic t-shirts. It's got to be like that. And we're going to have slim jeans. Lastly, sport sneakers. Then this needs to be sneaker materials. This needs to be jeans materials. This needs to be t-shirt materials. And then this should be hair materials. Then for all of them but the bodies, we need to start assigning the hair mesh into our to be equal to our child. Our t-shirt mesh, child. Our jeans mesh equal to child. And then lastly, our sneakers mesh equal to child. And we'll quickly do some connect signals. We'll do if not customization manager dot color updated dot is connected to what we're going to call on color updated, and customization manager dot color updated dot connect on color updated, and then another one of if not customization. I'm going to copy and paste this. We want is connected. We want color updated to be customization updated, and then we're going to do on customization updated, and same thing down here. So for now, we're going to just ignore those errors. I mean, I guess we can just set these up real quick. We'll do func that void pass just to get this out of our way right now. We're going to have to update these, but that's okay. Let's just stop getting the errors. But now we're going to focus on the update from data. And what we're going to do here is this is where we're going to be applying all of our update methods. So now we need to create a few more methods here. So we're going to start off with func update skin color, which takes in a color, give it a color, void, and we're going to do for material in skin materials, material dot albedo color. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but we'll just roll with it. Okay. And then we're going to have to do this for the rest of our update methods. So let's get some room on the screen here, and we're going to have to do this for hair color, t-shirt color, jeans color, and sneakers color. So we're going to change a little bit. So this is going, we also want to call this update. We're going to do update. Second one is going to be hair color. We take in a color and we want to loop through hair materials. This first line can stay the same. Then we're going to do material dot roughness equals 0.7. Then material dot metallic equals 0.3. In update, which one is this going to be? T-shirt. We are going to loop through our t-shirt materials, and then that color is all we need to do there. In our jeans color, same thing here, jeans materials, make sure we just call it updates, and then we are going to lastly update sneakers colors, and we're just going to loop through our sneaker materials. I guess we also need to do some stuff with our hair, so we'll do func update hair visibility, which is going to get selected hair, which is character data dot hairstyle. Not going to return anything here either. And all we're going to do is if hair mesh dot visible is going to equal to selected hair equals our character data dot hairstyle dot short. And we want to do our update clothing visibility, and we're going to get a data passed in here of the type character data, and if t-shirt mesh dot visible equals our data dot t-shirt visible, and if sneakers mesh sneakers mesh dot visible equals our data dot sneakers visible. You could do this for the jeans. I'm not going to do that in this tutorial, but you know, go nuts if you want to. Now we can come back up to these two here, and on color updated is going to be given a part. There's a character data, body part, and a color. We're going to do a match on this again as well. I'm going to just copy and paste this in, but what we're going to do here is we're going to, not character data 3D, we want character data, and we need to match on the part. So we're matching each body part, and then we're going to go through each of its updates, depending on what part we're passing in. And then on customization updated, we're just going to call update from data. And then in our update from data, we're going to get a variable called data, which is our customization manager dot character data. And then we do update skin color. We give it data dot skin color. We do our update hair color. We give it our data dot hair color, and so on and so forth for the rest of them. Now that we have all this, maybe you're wondering, where is our actual character? And that's because I made an error and we didn't actually add him yet. So this is not what we want here. We don't want this to be just a generic node 3D. We need to go into our assets folder and we need to find the .fbx. So this is the 3D model, and we're going to make it a child. There he is. There's our handsome guy. Nice. Okay. And we're going to rename this to be our character model. Okay. Now we're all good, and we should be able to go. Yeah, we can see him in our scene. The lighting is a little intense because we haven't adjusted where it's going to go. But if we go play our scene, we got our boy Chad here. Here we are. We actually have something that we can show off. Yeah, we're going to fix the lighting later, but for now, this is fine. So what we're going to do next is we're going to focus on the camera. We want to add a zoom and a rotate functionality. So let's start working on that. We're going to add a script to our camera 3D. Let's put it in the right folder. It's going to call it camera.gd. And we can get rid of the process. We're not going to need that. We're not going to need this comment. We need a variable called target position, which is a vector 3, going to equal a vector 3 at 0, 0.9, and 0. Then we have a variable for dragging, which is going to equal false. We have a variable for our drag start position, which is going to equal a vector 2. And then we're going to have a current zoom, which is going to be equal to 2.5, which is going to match a slider's value that we're going to input later. And in our ready, all we're going to do is set up the near 0.01. Again, you could do this in the editor over here in the inspector if you want. I'm just going to hard code this for right now. And it's going to be equal to 100 on the far. And then we are going to have a method that is going to be called update camera position. We're not going to have that method right now, so let's just create the base here just so we don't get errors, and we'll come back to it later. And our camera should already be assigned to that group that we made before, so that's good. Now we're going to tap into the unhandled input method, and if the event is an input event mouse button, we're going to check if the event dot button index is equal to mouse button left. If event dot pressed, dragging equals true. Drag start position equals event dot position. Else, dragging equals false. So we're only going to be dragging when you're clicking the left mouse button and moving it. Otherwise, we're not. Otherwise, elif event is input mouse button and dragging. We're going to get a variable for our drag delta. It's going to equal our event.position minus our drag start position. Another variable for our horizontal rotation. And we're going to tap into this method and do our drag delta dot x times 0.5. And then we are going to get our character, which is equal to get tree dot get first node in group character container. And if we get our character, just a check for us, we're going to do character dot rotate y horizontal rotation. And then lastly, still inside of the elif, we're going to do our drag start position. It's going to be equal to our event dot position. All right. We're going to have one more method before we can get to the update camera position, and we're going to call this our set zoom, which is going to take a value of float. I'm going to stop doing the void declarations just to speed this up. We'll do current zoom equals the value, and then we update camera position. And in update camera position, what we're going to do is get our position, set it equal to vector 3, 0, our target position dot y plus 0.7, comma 5.0 minus our current zoom. Then we're going to look at our target position. Okay, so let's see if we can test this out. All right, this is not working. Let's take a look real quick. That mouse button. Okay. So we don't want to do event mouse button. We want event mouse motion. Okay, now this should work. There we go. Now we can rotate our Chad. Great. Let's keep moving. Let's go back to our main scene. And we already have this. Let's set up a subtle camera animation, actually. So we're going to get a tween variable. We're going to create tween. Do tween.setLoops. We're going to do two tween properties. And it's going to be on our camera. And we're going to do our position X. And we're going to do 0.1, 3.0. Let's do this again. And we're just going to make this negative. So this is going to give us a subtle camera animation. So now when we go into here, you can see our guy is kind of like floating around a little bit. Gives us a little bit of life. You don't have to do that. Totally optional. I think this is okay for us now. I think we want to start moving into the UI portion of this. So we need to make a new scene. And it can be, a user interface. And we're going to call this a customization panel. All right, it's fine as a control. Let's set up all of this right now. We are going to need a script for this. So let's add a script. Customization panel is fine. I'm just going to put it in the right folder. Hit cancel. Let's try this again. All right. So we'll clear this out. And let's just set up what we're going to have here. So we're going to have a margin container. Inside of that, we're going to have a scroll container. Then inside of that, we're going to have a VBox container. And now this is where we're going to have all of our different sections. So we're going to have a label. We are going to have an H separator. Below the H separator, we're going to add another VBox container. This is going to be called our skin color section. And below this, we're going to have a label and a color picker button. This label can just write skin color. And then we're going to rename this to our skin color picker. We're going to need that as an onReady. And then we need to do this for all of our other different styles. So I'm going to duplicate this. We're going to call this our hair section. We're going to have this label be hair color and style. Then we're going to have a hair color picker. And we're going to add an option for a option button. And this is going to be our hairstyle option. Both of these are going to need to be onReadies. We can duplicate this one. We're going to make this our t-shirt section. The label here can just be called t-shirt. We're going to have, instead of this, we're actually going to make an HBox container as a child of our t-shirt section. Then we're going to put the label inside of there. And then we're going to add a checkbox, or a check button, sorry. It's also going to be a child here. We're going to call this our t-shirt toggle. And we are only going to need a t-shirt color picker. We can delete this hairstyle option. We're going to duplicate this, and this is going to be our jeans section. An HBox container. Label is going to be jeans, and then we are going to have not a t-shirt toggle. We're not going to need that, so let's delete that. And we'll bring up the color picker and just rename it to jeans color picker. I'm going to duplicate the t-shirt section, I want to bring it all the way down to the bottom. This is going to be our sneakers section. Inside of the HBox, we can have label. Did I put the label here? Yeah, label is going to be sneakers. We're going to have a sneakers toggle. And then we're going to have a sneakers color picker. So we're going to need all these color pickers. We're going to need our hairstyle option. Ooh, I already did those. Okay. And we're going to need our t-shirt toggle and our sneakers toggle. I have to do a couple more things as we want to make sure that we have our zoom section and randomize and reset. So let's add another VBox container. Down at the bottom, we're going to call this our zoom section. And then we're going to duplicate this and we're going to change it to be an HBox. And this is going to, we actually don't need to give this a name, but we'll HBox container. We're going to add a child here. That's going to be a button. Can duplicate that. This first button is going to be our randomize, randomize. And then the second button is going to be reset. And let's just give them the randomize button and reset button names. In our zoom section, we're going to need a label. We'll put camera zoom. Then we're going to need an H slider, which we are going to have a minimum value of 1, max of 4, and the default value is going to be 2.5, and our step can be 0.1. So we're going to need both of those buttons, and we're going to need the zoom slider. So let's actually rename that, and now we can grab all of these three and make them onReady variables as well. So now we want to go down, we're going to make our ready method. And inside of this, we're just going to have what we're going to call setup options, and then update UI from data. We're going to have a couple of signals in here. Actually, just one. We're going to listen to our customization managers, customization updated connect, and we're going to do update UI from data. So we need to connect to that signal. We don't have that method made right now. So just for these purposes, let's just make this so we don't get any errors. Okay. We'll do the same thing with setup options. Okay. Now we need to start tapping into some of these buttons. So let's just start at the top, and we're going to go to our skin color picker, our node. We want to be in our signals, and we want to do our on color change. So we're going to connect that signal. We need to do this for our hair color picker. We need to do this for our t-shirt color picker. We need our hairstyle option is going to be on item selected. We need our t-shirt toggle, and we're going to want to select on toggled. Our randomize button on pressed, and our reset button on pressed. And then we also, we need our sneaker toggle too. So we have all of those updated. Let's do on skin color first. We're going to go into our customization manager, .update color, give it our character data, .body part, .base, and the color. I'm just going to copy this just since we're probably going to be using this a little bit. And then on hairstyle selected, so down here, first thing we're going to do is get a style ID. Just going to be equal to a hairstyle option dot get item ID at the index, and then we're going to, instead of update color, we're going to update part, and we're going to give it the index, or sorry, not the index, we're going to get the style ID here, and the body part instead of base will be hair. On t-shirt toggled, we're going to go into our customization manager, .character data, .t-shirt visible equal toggle on, and then we're going to go into our customization manager, customization updated, and emit. And let's do this same thing for our sneaker toggle, except we want to do sneakers visible, and that's fine. On randomize pressed, we're going to our customization manager, .randomize character, and on reset, do customization manager, .reset character. Okay, so we're going to tap into these methods on those buttons. Can also start copying and pasting these into the hair color and t-shirt color. Looks like I didn't do the jeans color also, so let's make sure that we're going to do that. These are all going to get something very, very similar here. So let's start at the bottom for jeans. We're going to update color, and the body part is going to be jeans. I guess jeans aren't really a body part, but so be it. We have our t-shirt, and then we have hair. Then we need to implement the update data from UI. Actually, let's do setup options first. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go into our hairstyle option. I'm just going to clear it. Then we're going to go to our hairstyle option. We're going to add item, not add icon. We're going to add item, and we're going to do bald, and then character data dot hairstyle dot bald, and then we're going to replicate this for our short hair. Then we need to set some initial colors. So we're going to get data. It's going to be our customization manager's character data. We get our skin color picker dot color. It's going to be equal to our skin color. Our hair color is going to be equal to our hair color. Our t-shirt color is going to be equal to our t-shirt color, and our jeans color will be equal to the data's jeans color. Then we're going to default for the t-shirt toggle. Do I have that as an on ready here? I do. And pressed, or button pressed, is going to be equal to data.t-shirt visible. Now we can start filling out the update data from UI, and we're going to need our data again. It's going to be customization manager.character data, and we're going to do we got to start updating these. So let's actually copy and paste this down here. So we're going to do those same thing. And then we want to do our t-shirt toggle. Yeah, we can also copy this. We're going to do the same thing on the toggle. But we need to update the hairstyle selection. So we're going to do a loop in our hairstyle options dot item count. And then if hairstyle option dot get item ID at I index equals the data dot selected hair. Hairstyle option dot select index of I, and then we break. Oh yeah, there should not be parens at the end of item count. Now let's actually go and apply some styling on the properties here. So our customization panel is, let's go into our 2D, is going to be anchored to the center right. You can go into our layout, transform. We're going to go into, we want to make this on custom, and in our anchor points, our anchor offsets, we're going to do negative 300 on the left, negative 250 on the top, and 250 on the bottom. The grow directions are fine as is. Let's go to our margin container. We're going to make this a full rect, so now we can actually see what we're trying to build. We'll go into our theme overrides, just give it some margin constants. Then in our main VBox container, we'll go into our layout, into our container sizing, and we're going to want to expand horizontally. So there we go. That looks a little bit better. Something going on with our genes here. Our genes color picker. Oh, it needs to be outside of the, there we go. Okay, it needs to be outside of that HBox, but that does mean that we're going to have to update our genes color picker on ready since it's in a different location. Okay, so now we're good. Let's go back to this 2D view. And for the skin color picker, we're going to give it a layout size with a minimum of 100 by 30. The rest of the color pickers are going to be slightly smaller. So we're going to get our hair color picker. We're going to get our t-shirt color picker, our jeans color picker, and our sneaker color picker. And we're going to go to the layout, and these are all going to be 60 by 30. So because we're on expand, they're all going to expand anyways, but for all of the color pickers too, so let's go back and reselect our color picker. We want to go to the focus mode and make sure it's on none. And then let's go into our randomize button here. We want the layout container sizing to be horizontal fill, and the same thing for our reset button, so they just fill the entire container. Okay, let's why don't we give this a test? All right, so we didn't actually add the customization panel to the scene. So here we go. Now we have our skin color. Can make any sort of funky colors. We'll just keep them like that. The hair color is not currently defaulting. Okay, the toggle isn't working either. T-shirt color not working. Is jeans color is working. Sneakers we don't have on. If we toggle the sneakers, don't worry about the busted sneaker looking. Okay, but those aren't working. The zoom isn't working. Randomize is working though, and so is reset. But okay, so our t-shirt we can't toggle, and the t-shirt is not working here. Okay, so this has to be something going on in our customization panel script. So the first thing is I didn't connect the sneaker colors signal. So that should be an easy fix. So then this is sneakers. All right, so let's just see that that works. So that toggle works, and now we can change the color of the sneakers. Okay, great. Then I think in our setup options, we aren't doing our sneaker color picker dot color. equal data dot sneakers color. And then we need our sneakers toggle dot button pressed equals data dot sneakers visible. We also want to add those down here. Okay, so let's try and figure out which ones aren't working. Sneakers, good. All right, camera zoom also not working, that's okay. Jeans is working fine. T-shirt toggle's not working. That color's not working, and the hairs are off. Okay, so let's fix the remaining ones. So the easy one is going to be our zoom slider. We want to tap into the value changed signal. So in here, what we're going to do is we need to get a camera similar to how we got our character before. So it's going to be equal to our get tree dot get first node and group, give it the main camera. And if we get a camera, we can set, not set value, we want to set zoom and then give it the value. So this should fix our zoom issues. Yeah, okay, there we go. So now we just have to wrap up the t-shirt, and it doesn't look like our hair color is changing either. So we need to do, yeah, something with our hair color and t-shirt stuff. Oh, I did duplicate that. That shouldn't affect anything though. Okay. Is there anything in our, this is our character. Basic t-shirt. It's basic t-shirts. Okay. So that should help us with one. And then customization manager. I think there's got to be, yeah, maybe there's something wrong with the selected hair. Randi range. Oh, okay. So it's inclusive, which is, I don't think that's what we want. So we could just do -1 here, right? I think that should work because the size is going to return 2. Customization manager. Okay. So in our ready, let's just omit this signal too. I hope that this will fix everything. So no, we're at bald, but it's not showing. T-shirt works, so that's good. We can, oh, look at him. Nice, Chad. Okay. Give him some sneakers. Zoom. Randomize works, but we're never getting bald. Well, it seems to be okay. Wonder if there's just this constant came to, yeah, that has to be it, because this all, okay, so it's classic _ short. So we're actually going to get rid of this. I only use this in one place, right? Yeah, so we're going to get rid of that. And we're just going to follow, oops, so we want to do classic short. Oh my goodness, classic short. There he is, our bald Chad. Take his t-shirt off, we give him short hair, and now we can color it. All right. So, appreciate you sticking with me. I know this was a long one, but hopefully you got something valuable out of this. If you want to see me build on this, please let me know in the comments, or let me know what other 3D tutorials you want me to try and tackle.